Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Window Pro podcast. I'm Duncan McRae, and for nearly 30 years, I've been in the trenches of the window cleaning trade. I've carried ladders, lugged gear, I've underquoted, I've over-delivered, and of course, like all of us, learned some tough lessons along the way. So my goal in our solo episodes is to help you to avoid the mistakes that I've made and hopefully help you to build a business that's not only profitable, but certainly enjoyable. So, what's today's solo episode about? Well, today I'm going to tackle one of the biggest game changers in business, and that is finding your niche. So, let me ask you something. Just think about this for a minute. Do you say yes to every job that comes your way? You know, so shop front, absolutely. Solar panels, why not? Pressure washing, yeah, let's chuck that into the diary. Let's do it. In other words, if your diary's empty, do you grab whatever you can? Now, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. That's how I started business back in the 90s. Basically, I'd grab whatever came along, and it worked for a period of time until it didn't. Because here's the trap. If you try to be everything to everyone, the risk is you'll burn yourself out, blend into the crowd, and you won't be good to anybody. So what is the solution to that? Well, the solution is finding your niche. Now, I guess along the way, there are legitimate fears about niching your business. Now, what does niching mean? So here's a definition that I found with regard to the word niche. I'm going to read it off the computer. It says niching, also known as niching down, is the practice of focusing a business or its offerings on a specific, well-defined, and often narrow segment of the market or a particular area of expertise. So let me read that to you again. Niching is the practice of focusing a business or its offerings on a specific, well-defined, and often narrow segment of the market or particular area of expertise. So comes with that are the fears that are legitimate about this. You know, maybe you're nervous about the idea of narrowing your business down to a very small segment of the markets. You know, you might be thinking, if I niche down, won't I lose work? Or what if the phone stops ringing after I've niched down? Isn't it safer to offer everything to everyone and that way you get something from someone? Well, I had those fears. It's okay. For years, that's what I did. I carried gear that I never used. I drove all over the place. I was prepared to one cheap job here and drive right across town for a cheap job over there. I said yes to jobs that I hated. And when it came to quoting, well, I was pretty shaky about that too. You know, I would start talking to the customer. I'd waffle on about the job and the price and sometimes talk myself out of the job because I didn't come across confident. It wasn't clear that I was the guru in this part of the field, this narrow segment. And of course, the broader you go, the less you stand out. You know, we're just another window cleaner in the multitude of window cleaners in our town, in our area. We become forgettable. We become replaceable. The risk is that customer loyalty won't be directed to us because people don't know who we are and what we stand for. So why does a niche matter, do you think? Well, when I made the decision 2 or 3 years ago to really narrow down, to really niche down, I made the decision and I thought about all the different types of jobs I had done in my window cleaning journey. And I realized that my specialty was high-end residential window cleaning. That was my lane that I was going to drive in. I love cleaning high-end residential homes, the finish of it, the wow that the client expresses when they see their home popping really gives me a good feeling. And so at that point, I wasn't just another window cleaner. I wasn't just another tradie. I became the go-to guy for that specific niche, which meant I sold all my solar panel cleaning. I sold all my pressure washer gear. I eliminated that out of my business offerings. Now, what was the result? Well, in the 2 years since I really niched down, my turnover grew by 30% in 2 years. My quotes were much clearer. I had a confidence that I could present to these potential clients. I knew where I was going to find those high-end residential clients. And of course, people then chased me rather than me always chasing them. So here's something that might be worth considering. Picture this. Instead of chasing jobs you don't enjoy, your diary is filled with the kind of clients that you enjoy serving. People who value your work, who look forward to you coming and providing your service. Surely that's better than being a jack of all trades, master of none. So how do you determine a niche? And does it mean that you are locked into that? No, it doesn't mean that you're locked into it. So at any moment now, I could decide I'm going to change to be mainly a pressure washing business, which means I'd have to invest in the equipment, get some extra training. But then that could become my niche. So it doesn't mean we're locked into that niche eternally. But what it does do is provide us specifics. So how do you determine what niche to pursue? Well, I'm going to show you now what's called the niche checklist. I wish I'd known this years ago, but I only found it recently. But in essence, I didn't realize that the way I did niche, I was using the elements of this checklist. And this is found in a book by business writer Alex Hormozi. And the book is called $100 Million Offers. Maybe you've read it. I have read both books that he's put out, $100 Million Offers, $100 Million Leads. And he gives a checklist, a four-part checklist, which helps you to narrow things down specifically as to what the niche is. So here's the first one, and you'll see it come up on the screen, these 4 points. And we'll talk about them as we go. Number one, are they hungry? So do they actually care about the problem you solve? Think about homeowners in your area. Are they people that would really want window cleaning? Now, 7 or 8 years ago, I lived in a part of Brisbane, Australia, that was really a lower socio-economic demographic, and very few people wanted window cleaning services for their home. When I moved to a different part of Brisbane, close to the ocean, high-end residential, I noted that they were the people who were hungry. They were the people that wanted clean windows. They were also dealing with real estate agents, when they were selling their homes, who valued clean windows as part of the presentation prior to sale. So these are people who want that service, who want sparkling homes. And having had lots of experience with high-end residential, I realized this is the people. This is the demographic. They're hungry for that service. So that's the first one. Secondly, can they pay? Do they have the budget available for the quality service? So you may be doing high-end homes. You might be doing property styling. It might be strata managers for um, residential apartment blocks or commercial buildings. So do those strata managers have at their disposal, or those real property stylists have at their disposal the income required to get the job done and get many jobs done so that you're really happy with what you're quoting? So going back to my situation, the previous demographic, real estate agents, they just were interested in selling the house. Presentation didn't really matter. There was no views to enhance the presentation of their home. Where I live now is a whole different ballgame. Real estate agents contact me to get homes detailed because when there's a great view and it pops, oh yeah, people love that, but they can afford it because of the high cost of homes in those areas. So firstly, are they hungry? Absolutely. They want the service. Can they pay? Yes, they can. Now, what's the third and fourth part of the checklist? Well, number three is, are they easy to find? Can you reach them? How do you reach them? Well, today I did a job for a lady who was just thrilled with the finish, and she found me from her local suburban Facebook group. She put a search in, got the feedback, gave me a call, booked me over the phone. So those Facebook groups, some of us may find Facebook and social media a little difficult or annoying, but those Facebook groups, particularly the community groups, are brilliant to finding the people who want your service. So you've got Facebook groups, you've got local directories, certain postcodes have community groups that are really high functioning. In my area, there's a Facebook group called the Social Mums Club, and they're scattered across my part of Brisbane. And by connecting with those Facebook groups, I'm not a mum, but I'm part of those groups. I can then promote my business and reach the people who are hungry and who can pay. So finding a method of contacting them or reaching out to all those real estate agents who you see are selling homes in your area. So can you find them? Now, the last one is number four, are they underserved? In other words, are they frustrated with the dodgy tradies who may turn up, who may not turn up, who sometimes just ghost them? They leave halfway through a job. I had a client who asked for a quote. She said the previous window cleaner, she accepted the quote. He turned up halfway through. He decided he was going up to do a DoorDash delivery and he would send someone the next day to finish up. She was so frustrated, and absolutely why not? So is that the case in your area or the area that you want to niche down into? That there's not a lot of quality tradespeople that people are going to be confident in, so that you can pivot and stand out as the person who's going to provide. So what are those 4 points again? Are they hungry? Can they pay? Can you reach them? And are they underserved? So if we target those four boxes, then you have found a winning niche. Now let's expand this exercise just a little bit further. It's something that you can use on the jobs you already do. So not just what I could potentially get, but think about the jobs you already do as a window cleaner. So Here on the screen, you'll see a list, two sides to the list. And this is what I really recommend you try and do. Grab a pen, paper, do this list as you see on the screen. On one side, write down the 20 jobs that you've done last month. Okay? Write them all down. It might be a couple of cafes, it might be a home, it might be just a retail premises, it might be a commercial property. Okay? And as you look at those, put a tick next to the ones that you loved doing, that you think, if I was doing this every day, I would love it. I remember when I first started in window cleaning, I had a cafe that I would just have to pull up in the car, and before I got the bucket out of the back of the car, a coffee was there on the table ready for me. Oh, I loved going to clean that cafe. See, they're the kind of jobs. Think about those type of jobs that you really enjoyed. Maybe it was a house with a view of the ocean or a spectacular view of the city where you live. Think about that. But on the other side of the list, write the jobs that you dreaded going to. You know, the customer's always whingy. They try to push you onto another day and postpone you all the time, and eventually you get the job done. Whatever it might be. Jobs that drain your energy, that you don't like. So if you've got the two lists, compare the two, and in there you will find your niche. You will find the niche that you want to drill down into as a window cleaner. So just think about the payoff to this. You're in your van, you're in your truck, you're just carrying the tools you actually need. You're much more confident in your quoting. Your quoting is simple because you've set up the quotes to suit your niche. Your clients don't haggle with you because you're the person with the expertise. You can speak confidently about that style of work, whether it's shopfront, whether it's commercial, whether it's cafes, whether it's high-end residential as I do. That doesn't mean you don't do cafes, you don't do shopfront when your niche is high-end residential, but that's your main focus. That's where you target your marketing. And so because of that, you're more confident in all aspects, finding the client, quoting for the client, and doing the job. And so as you get more confident, your pricing is higher, your income grows, not by working harder, but by working smarter with the right clients. That's the power of finding your niche. So what's the takeaway from our discussion today? Well, the takeaway is this: don't let fear keep you stuck as a jack of all trades. Pick a lane. Doesn't have to be one specific lane. Pick it, own it, and then watch your business and your confidence grow. Don't forget to do that 20 job exercise, because finding your niche, it isn't a difficult thing. It's not hiding somewhere where you can't find it. It's already in your diary from the jobs that you've already done. They're just sitting there waiting for you to notice, hey, this is my niche. This is what I love doing. You don't want to be going to work dreading stuff. Like if you hate your work, you hate the jobs you're doing, why are you doing the jobs? Think about that. You want to be going to work and go, that was a great day. I love going to these type of jobs. And that's where, when you have a niche, you can nail those jobs with confidence, with good pricing, and with a real feel-good factor at the end of it. So have you got any thoughts on that yourself? Have you done that exercise? Have you drilled down and developed a niche in the window cleaning game? Well, I'd love to hear your comments. Don't forget to reach out. You can DM me or leave comments here on the platform where you're watching this podcast. But thank you so much for watching the podcast. I really appreciate your support of the Window Pro podcast. And if you feel that you would like to support financially the work I do in keeping this podcast going, maybe by paying for a paid subscription to the podcast, I'll leave a link in the description of the podcast as to how you can do that. And I really appreciate if you do support that. So thank you very much. Until next time, keep cleaning smarter, not harder.